Nature does not hurry, and yet everything gets done. This is chapter 37 of the Tao Te Ching from Lao Tzu. And today we're going to be talking about pop ups. All right. Should you do them? If no, why? If yes, why? If you do them, then how to do them properly. And then at the end of the video, I will actually do like a walkthrough of how to do that specifically in Klaviyo for the beginner guys, and girls. So first of all, let's start with the elephant in the room. Should you even be doing pop-ups? Isn't it like super annoying? Like I go to a website, I hate pop-ups. Like it's super blah, 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 blah. Now, we are often influenced in psychology by something called the personal bias, where if we don't like something, we automatically assume that it doesn't work and everyone else feels the same level of strength of emotion towards that thing as we do. And yet, so many, well, most of the big brands, think of the biggest e-commerce stores, Gymshark, Zara, like just to name some of the well-known ones, they're all using pop-ups, all right? And all of their like website experiences usually not the best, actually. Um, but what these brands understand, okay, so why should you listen to me in the first place? So in over the last 7 years, I helped over 200 e-commerce brands generate over $30 million using email and SMS marketing, including two Fortune 500 companies. And out of those companies, there was a really big consistency between the brands that were making a lot of money and the brands that weren't. Okay. And the brands that weren't making a lot of money, they were the ones that are most likely to, first of all, not be okay with offering discounts because they had terrible margins. And secondly, not do pop ups because for whatever woo woo personal preference and trying to be people pleasing and all of that stuff. Like people pleasing is great in e-commerce when it comes to, for example, like product fulfillment. Okay, what you have to understand is there's a opportunity cost at whatever action you do. There's a marginal benefit and the marginal cost. This is kind of like an economical term. So when you do a pop-up, and by the way, just to clarify, I usually advise brands not to do a pop-up that it triggers automatically. I love to do at least like a 5 to 10 second delay at least. Okay, so it doesn't pop up automatically. We only show it to the people that have spent some time on the website. There's some exit intent in there as well. We're gonna towards the end of the video where I will show you exactly. See, like I'm getting better at this algorithm stuff. Like I could have told you right now which for settings I set up when it comes to targeting and behavior for the pop-ups, but now I told you to wait until at some point in the video I will reveal this huge secret. Okay, so you gotta stay. Okay, I'm getting better at this. Great. Cool. So we're gonna talk about the four thing like settings when it comes to targeting and behavior, including exit intent, including a time delay. And yeah, like that's the proper way in my experience to do it, because the marginal benefit of, first of all, when people get offered 10-15% off on their first order, they feel like they're getting a good deal. There were so many studies done that people want to get a good deal even into like stupid territory where they should just take the offer. And but no, like I want something fair and like justice. I think it's like justice bias, like something like that. And yeah, so first of all, there's going to be a really big increase in the conversion rate of those people that see this pop up, because it's going to be able to squeeze out that extra percentage of people who were kind of on the fence, and this is that extra little push that they needed, or if they wanted to buy anyway, but they were kind of at risk of getting distracted by something, such as like they get hungry or they get distracted or I don't know, something like that. This way, they're less likely, because especially if you add, some e-commerce brands don't like that, but you can even add like, hey, this discount expires in 2 minutes, let's say, or like you need to subscribe in the next 2 minutes to claim this offer, something like that, or you can make it 10 minutes. You can add that extra text, or I think nowadays in Klaviyo there's a countdown setting or like something like that you could add. Or if there isn't, then I like to use Nifty Images. It's a paid thing, real-time email marketing. It's like you can add basically countdown timers to your emails. Okay, this is a very simple summary of this. So I like to do those things. I understand many e-commerce brands don't want to go that route, which is fine. I understand there's an aspect of positioning and everything for anyone that has exited this video because they're like, oh, like, but I need to like, I need my customers to love me and like whatever way. But those three people that will complain about your pop-up were not gonna buy anyway. Okay, they weren't gonna buy stuff. However, giving them this 10 to 15% off, and by the way, the actual big value. So one of the big value of pop-ups is making that conversion from subscriber or page viewer to buyer, and the other one is now they are on your email list, which means you can kind of retarget them almost for free, even though Klaviyo is getting pretty expensive. And also it really like a big email list, an email list that grows fast, really increases the equity of your brand. Like there's a lot of guys in e-commerce um, who just kind of came into this space to then do an exit and sell their business for 1 5 10 mil or more. And a big email list will definitely give you more leverage to charge higher prices. So I don't think I need to argue for too much longer about the benefits of pop-ups and how they grow your email list. If you're really concerned about the website experience stuff, make the delay longer. Okay. Usually the way we like to do it is like you go to Google Analytics and you check the average page view, and you just take that as the trigger of your pop-up, and then those people have spent more than average amount of time. It's a very simple rule of thumb. I also like to do just a simple like 15 seconds. Okay, this channel is about giving you the most practical steps, so you don't need to think. I don't want, because one thing that pisses me off about YouTube creators whenever I listen to them is they give you wishy-washy answers, like, oh, like it depends on, like, here's the information, but it kind of depends on your store. Like, actually it doesn't many times. Okay, like I do also give some like caveats when it makes sense. Okay, like for example, there's a big difference between doing emails, well, a relatively big difference between doing emails for like $2,000 couches, like stores that sell those things, really high average order value, and really low customer retention rate on average, and really low, just frequency of purchases, versus coffee brands or skincare or supplements. Okay, there is a difference there, but the difference isn't actually that big. As not as big as soon as I said that sentence out loud, how big you might think it is. All right. So to summarize, I think if you don't want to, like, in my opinion, on when you haven't been making 50K USD per month revenue for your e-commerce store consistently, a lot of these things that people tell you to, like, oh yeah, it depends, like you have to like test it, like actually you don't. Okay, like testing, it makes sense when you have a big store with a lot of people, and then those margins actually do make a difference. What makes a difference when you're smaller is that extra time spent thinking about what to test, thinking like, oh, does this subject line work better? Let me tell you something very, let me tell you something, okay? I've been doing A/B tests on email campaigns for more than 7 years now for e-commerce stores, and I think I can count on one hand how many times we did a test of like, yeah, pretty much anything, and the difference was statistically significant, and it was bigger than 1%, like, or bigger than, let's say, bigger, let's make it more real. Let's make it bigger than 3% difference. Very, very rare that there's a 3% difference, especially when it comes to like open rates. Like whenever you could test the most like salesy, clickbaity subject line against the friendliest, most wishy-washy, average corporate one, and the difference will rarely be bigger than 3%. Okay, and many times it's the other one, and most of the time, if you don't have an email list of like 100K or more, many times it's not statistically significant. Okay, so in my opinion, a lot of A/B testing is just kind of for making clients happy. This is just like pure giving it to you like how I see it at the moment. Okay, um, it's probably going against the grain, and it definitely goes against like what big marketers teach. But I think those, like Russell Brunson's book was, I don't think it's like yeah, like testing is good, but I think if you just do the simple things, you're going to get 80% of your results. And because you haven't spent all of this time on this BS testing and this BS like advanced stuff, you will have that extra time to spend on, I don't know, like getting more traffic to your website, or on like having a coffee or reading a book, or like spending time with your friends. I don't know what you want to do, but a lot of it is kind of unnecessary, just in my opinion. Okay. Was a little rant on the overly complicated, because that's the funny thing about this content that I'm doing as well, and also like conversations that I would have with clients. Like clients often go for the marketers who will come up with the most complex plan. It's another psychological bias is called complexity bias, where we are drawn towards the most complex possible solution because it sounds fancy, it sounds smart, and it's just been my experience that if you do the simple things well and the links work, and someone checks if the links work, for example, and you do the boring stuff well in terms of retention marketing, you're there. Okay. Like now, actually this month I've been doing a lot of expected date of next order flows for some of my clients, because we kind of did all of the simple stuff. And let me just tell you, like, a lot of those flows will not be making that much money, but they will be making something, and the clients will be happy. Okay. Like that's just the reality. Hate to break it to you, this is the reality. I also do calls where I evaluate the performance of other email marketers who have been working on this account, and I would often make it complex because this is just the name of the game. Okay. That's just how it works, whether we like it or not. The graceful master accepts things as they are. I think this was chapter 24 in the Tao Te Ching. Let's talk more about pop-ups. Okay. So I think I tackled most of the mindset stuff. It's good to add an SMS option too in your pop-ups. Um, and you can now there's this new feature in Klaviyo where you can automatically subscribe people for SMS using this like 6-digit code thing, which is great. Let's do that bit where we actually create a pop-up. All right. Right. So this is my account. I currently have 2 subscribers in this one. Um, it's just kind of like a text account. Let's go to here. So for the podcast listeners, I'm going to the left-hand side, sign up forms. All right. We're here, and I've already created this one, but let's just start one from scratch. So you click on create form, all types, you go for pop-up. There's a bunch of like different ones. Like for example, you can, so this is all sign up forms. It's not just pop-ups. Okay. So like, for example, if you want to just add like a sign up form, like an embed, like a little block into your website that I have as well on my website, for example. I hope the dev guys have set this up since I asked them 2 weeks ago. Um, in the footer, get 10% off, whatever. It can be any business, actually, not just e-commerce. And then once you create that one, Klaviyo will give you an embed code. You can just add it to your website code, and it will be done. But here, none of this other stuff, in my opinion, makes sense. Like a flyout pop-up, I've never had good experiences with it. Okay. Like if you're in this for like, I love this Moneyball approach where people love to overcomplicate everything. Um, at the end of the day, like the purpose of the pop-up is to like sign up quite a few website visitors for email, like as many as optimal, not as many as possible, because then you would have the immediately triggering one. But it just, in my experience, that's a little too much. um, but if that's your goal, like I've done those too, and it can work for sure. That's something you could test, actually. Okay, you could test. I love that test. Pop-up that shows up immediately versus pop-up that shows up after 10 seconds. Okay, that's a test that makes sense. You set it up once. And by the way, whenever I talk about this like A/B testing stuff, I think if you start doing like, let's say you have an account right now and you haven't done any A/B tests, I would always set up those A/B tests for the automated stuff, because you set it up once and it just runs. And I hate when people do their emails by themselves and they set up a subject line A/B test on a campaign, and it's a one-off thing. You send it to 1,000 people. One of them was performing 0.3% better than the other. Now what? you realize that get 10% off emoji versus get 10% off without emoji performs better, and you draw a conclusion from this. Like, really? Like, and you went back and checked what was better. Like, you have too much time. Right? That's the reality. Okay, back to this. Right. First order discount, just click on it's a pretty simple one. I like to use that one. Very important, when you select a list, don't use the default one. Create a new list. I already created this using lists and segments, create new list, and then it's the pop-up list. And then the reason why we do that is because Shopify will put the people that have made purchases to that default list, which is usually called email list. Okay. We don't want to be sending the same welcome series for those people that purchase something and those people that just sign up on a pop-up. Okay. That is a minor thing that does make sense to do, even for the smaller guys. You want to be talking to these people differently. It's a different type of email. For the pop-up subscribers, I just want to give them the discount code. I tested everything else and they are not interested. Okay. They just want the discount code. Whereas when they bought something, yes, you can introduce the brand. About us. Why did we do this? All of that good stuff. Right. And then create form. Honestly, the default one is good. The best performing pop-ups don't have an image, just in my experience. So when you go to like styles, I think no side image is totally good. This performed like 3 times better when like I did this exact test. The image that I just removed on the left hand side, maybe it's the bag that you designed, handcrafted. Nobody cares. Okay, just this text looks bigger than when the image was there. Simple as that. Humans are simple creatures. This is a decent pop-up, by the way. Unlock offer. I like to do like get 10%, get the 20% off. By signing up, you agree to receive email marketing. This is enough in most US-based brands for you to be able to enable single opt-in. This is not legal advice. If you get into trouble, don't blame me. But in 7 years, whenever I was using this one, so far I haven't gotten into trouble. Okay, but this isn't legal advice. All right. And then you can add all this like teaser stuff. It pops up. It's great. You can add an SMS opt-in, but you need to enable SMS for that to work. And then success page. If you want to be super conversion optimized, just give them the discount code here. All right. You can do that by add block, and in here coupon here. And in here you can select one. Unique coupon. You need to integrate your Klaviyo account with an e-commerce platform. Yeah. So I don't have an e-commerce platform, so that's why. But this will show up. All right. And that's how, and then you just activate it. And and the thing that I kept you waiting for here is right here. Okay. So select the roles. I like to keep the default ones. Okay. Apart from this one, I like a 15-second one. Okay. When visitors exiting the page, 15 seconds, 30% scroll, and 3 pages visited. And never take this one in. It says only display if all selected conditions are met. Don't take this one. I want this pop-up to trigger if any of these, not all, get triggered. All right. Very important. Those are the rules. This was the pop-up video. I had to record it for a second time because I wasn't like fully happy with how the first one went. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Never forget Lautz's advice, especially when it comes to implementing about pop-ups. If you got this far, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and thank you.